What's up, my comic comrades? The third issue of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin has finally dropped. The gap between issues has roughly been around 2 months, but man are they worth the wait, and it's been one of my favorite series coming out in a long time. And issue 3 tells us just how Leonardo and Casey Jones died, which is not a spoiler. Literally the whole premise of the series is that all but one turtle has died. But before we get to that, I wanted to remind you all that this past Friday we just made a massive announcement on the channel that I have co-written and co-created my very first comic book called Astonishing Times. It's a creator-owned series that will be released through Comixology Originals and then collected in a physical trade paperback through Dark Horse Comics soon after. It was a ton of fun co-creating a superhero universe with my co-writer and our artist that hopefully you guys dig. But again, we did a whole video on it this past Friday, laying out all the details, including premiering the teaser trailer. You'll also see several interior images from the book, get introduced to a few characters and the entire creative team, which this book wouldn't have happened without. And the best part is Astonishing Times is available for pre-order right now on Comixology. Link is in the description, so I hope you pre-order it and check it out. We made it for you. With that shameless plug out of the way, let's take a look at where The Last Ronin issue 3 takes us. Before diving in, I want to remind you guys that if you haven't watched our first 2 videos on issues 1 and 2 of The Last Ronin or read them for yourselves, you're gonna be lost because we're not really gonna do a recap. But now that you've been warned, let's start. Issue 3 starts off in the past with Shredder's grandson, Hiroto, being promoted by his clan to be the master of the Foot Clan and take the throne that is rightfully his, as his mother has fallen and Shredder, his grandfather, has long been gone. After which Oroku says, "General Oyama, I am prepared to issue my first command as your new liege." The general replies, "And we are prepared to obey, Master Hiroku." Hiroku then tells him, "Send a formal invitation of parley to the Hamada clan leadership, to those here in Japan, and Master Splinter in New York City. This war has gone on far too long. The time has come to speak of peace," as he sheaves his sword. Meanwhile, in the present, we see that Hiroto is broadcasting himself to all of New York City saying, "My people, my city, for nearly 2 decades, I have kept you safe, protected, allow you to prosper at will, my will. I alone decide your fate. So hear me now, hear what I have to say. There's a monster in our midst. This creature, this assassin, cowardly attacked the sacred ground with one terroristic mission in mind, to tear down all that I have built and kill me. This treasonous affront is unacceptable, unforgivable. Any crime against me is punishable by death. No stone will be left unturned until this beast is captured. And I will personally execute final justice. Tonight, until further notice, the entire city will be under martial law. Obey my soldiers, return to your homes, await my orders, and know this, anyone foolish enough to harbor this terrorist insurgent will not suffer its fate. No, yours will be far worse. Your master has spoken," which of course Casey Marie's crew hears, saying, "Man, this just got real bad real fast. We need to tell Jones ASAP." Meanwhile, back in the sewer, we see Mikey sitting on his bed reading a book while the ghost spirits of his brothers continue to have a conversation around him saying how impressive Casey Marie is. If you forgot or don't know, Casey Marie is the daughter of April O'Neil and Casey Jones. As Mikey's brothers Donnie, Leo, and Raph continue to talk about Casey, Mikey eventually gets fed up saying something to the effect of, "Just drop it." And wouldn't you know it, Casey comes walking in at the same time saying, "Whoa, easy. I was just wondering if this was some kind of ninja thing. I should know about talking to yourself in the dark." He tells her, "No, it's not, and it takes way more than sneaking up on somebody to make you one." She goes, "Sorry, wasn't trying to be sneaky. The door was open and you seemed, never mind, sorry." Casey continues to say, "Anyway, Mom wants to see you. I'm headed topside to check in with my crew." Mikey tells her, "I don't think that's a good idea, Casey." She then laughs, telling him, "You're the funny one, right? I wasn't asking for permission." Mikey is all like, "That's not what I was, I just watch your back up there." She replies, "Sure, good plan, and I'll keep working on my ninja skills while I'm at it," which obviously frustrates him, saying, "Kid thinks she knows everything." Anyway, Mikey then goes looking for April, and when he finds her, he said, "Casey said you wanted to see me." But as he walks inside of her lab, he is greeted by the head of Fugitoid. If you don't know who Fugitoid is, he's a robotic ally and friend to the Ninja Turtles, and Mikey is shocked that she somehow still has his head, with him even saying, "Holy crap, you gotta stop doing this to me." She tells him, "I'm sorry, I was hoping to ease you back into everything, but things are about to get crazy around here." Mikey then says, "About to? I think it's time we get busy with all that catching up you're talking about, April," to which she agrees. The comic then jumps to some point in the past where we see Fugitoid help Splinter, Donnie, Leo, and Mikey get ready for their next mission. There's no Raph because remember he died fighting Karai last issue, trying to get revenge for the Foot Clan's ambush and attack on Master Splinter. But as we saw at the beginning of the issue, Hiroto is calling for another truce between the 2 clans. So Splinter and Donnie are headed to Japan to see what it's all about and engage in some peace talks. But Leo and Mikey are like, "We don't trust him. We don't think his parlay is legit. especially after the almost fatal attack on Master Splinter. But Splinter just tells his boys, our two clans, the Oroku and Hiroto, have been fighting forever and lost so much in this war. So perhaps the young master tires of all the senseless bloodshed as well. Maybe the time has come at last to finally close the book on the feud. With that, Splinter and Donnie go to Japan, while Leo, Mikey, April, Casey Jones, and crew keep watch over New York City. And once they start attacking the Turtles' crew, all hell breaks out, with Turtle allies sounding the alarm from the sewer defenses as foot ninjas come at them from all angles. Leo then tells his team, listen up, lock down all the outer doors and take your positions. I want every access point covered. But as Casey, Mikey, April, and Fugitoid prepare to get to their positions, foot soldiers use an explosion to blast through the sewer walls, coming in after them. At this point, Mikey tells Casey, yeah, I told you guys Foot Clan are nothing but liars. Casey says, I hear you, Mike, but first things first, bro, get my wife and Honeycut to safety. If you didn't know, they call Fugitoid Honeycut. As more foot soldiers come pouring into the sewer, Honeycut says, this is Stockman's doing. He found a way to track me. At which point we see robotic foot soldiers bursting through the brick walls, with Leo saying, what the hell are those things? They can't be human. Casey tells him, let's find out. This leads to an epic battle with Leo, Casey, and Mikey tearing through the robotic foot soldiers. But elsewhere, Stockman is becoming infuriated, saying imbeciles, sending in a crap ton of mousers, like all of them. So much so that Leo and Casey tell Mikey, Honeycut, and April that they'll follow behind them as soon as they're done, saying, Mikey, we got this. Get to safety. As Leo and Casey start going ham on some robots, Honeycut says, I know it's me you've come for, Stockman. I'll self-destruct before I let you hurt my friends or imprison me again. You shall not pass. Stockman replies, very well. If I can't have you, nobody will. As he detonates the self-destruct button on all the countless mousers, blowing up the entire building and killing Casey Jones and Leonardo in the process. So isn't that crazy? Stockman in the end is the one to kill Leonardo and Casey Jones. After this, we are brought back to present, where we see that Casey Marie has finally made her way above ground, where she meets up with her crew and learns that Hiroto has set martial law in place until Michelangelo is found and brought to him. At which point she's like, crap, I gotta hurry to tell Mom and Mikey what's happening. Meanwhile, back in the sewer, April is taking blood samples from Mikey, as she says she needs to see what his advanced mutation is doing to his body. Mikey then asks while looking at Honeycut's head, so how badly damaged is he? Is Honeycut still in there? April answers, I don't know. I think so. I hope so. It's just, I'm pretty sure Stockman found us last time by hacking the security firewalls Fugitoid had developed to keep us hidden during the war. Reactivating him now would be like blasting another come kill us signal to the bad guys. Well, come kill the rest of us at least. After this, April tells Mikey how she ended up there after the explosion that killed Leo and Casey Jones. She goes on to say, after the smoke cleared, a rescue team pulled me out of the rubble and got me to a hospital. As April goes on to explain to us her story, we see an entire page that's drawn by Kevin Eastman himself, co-creator of the Ninja Turtles. Anyway, April goes on to say, I woke up in the hospital about a week later, only to find out I lost my husband, my friends, my home, my arm, my leg, and oh yeah, surprise, I was pregnant. I ended up staying in the hospital for a long time, lots of physical and mental therapy. Honestly, I don't know which part was harder. Meanwhile, Hiroto and the Foot were taking control of New York. When they finally discharged me, I had a shiny new arm and leg and a shiny new baby to go along with them. Things were getting really bad in the city, so I moved us down to the lair, more like hit us, but it was okay. Back in the present, April tells Mikey some of Leo and Casey's strike team who weren't killed in the battle recovered Fugitoid's head. April then says, you know, Casey Marie told me about the training you did in Asia and Europe, but she didn't tell me how you got all the way over there. Mikey then says, in a fog mostly. Last thing I remember clearly was trying to get you and Fugitoid to safety. Except the damn explosion knocked me half across the neighborhood and all the way unconscious. Don't have any clue how long I was out. We then get another flashback that is drawn yet again by Kevin Eastman. Mikey goes on to say, by the time I came to, the store was gone and I figured everyone with it. I just didn't think there was any way anyone could have survived. Not that I was thinking clearly about anything. It was all kind of a haze for a while. All I know is I found my way down to the sewer somehow, then to the lair. I tried calling Donnie to warn him and father, but nothing. I was confused and desperate. All I could think was I had to save them. So I grabbed some things from the lair, like weapons and other stuff, and stowed away on a plane to Japan as fast as I could. I was hoping I could reach them in time. I just didn't know what else to do. Then we're brought back to the present, where April puts her arm on Mikey's shoulder saying, I know what you're thinking, but it's not your fault, Mikey. None of it is. The counselors I work with called it survivor's guilt. I had plenty of it after the explosion. At this point, April tells Mikey, I think I know how to beat Hiroto, and a voice across the room says, then you need to show us right now, Mom, because all hell is breaking loose in Rock Bottom, as we see Casey Marie and her crew. Elsewhere, Hiroto is talking to himself on the side of a building, basically saying, it's my job to end the Turtles. Grandfather, Shredder, you see me now, don't you? I am all you aspire to be and more. Your heir, your better, flesh of your flesh, blood of your blood, left behind to find my own way, my own path, and from your failure, I will rise. As he trips off the building, free falling to the ground, but is caught by one of his robots saying, "I am God, immortal. My angels will not allow me to die." Back at the sewer, April tells Michelangelo, Casey, and her crew her plan, which is to go to Baxter Stockman's own headquarters to attack him and shut him down before they could take out Hiroto. And their only shot at that is to try to activate Honeycutt during the attack, and if he wakes up, maybe he'll help them knock out Baxter's tech. Mikey's all like, "Yeah, bad plan, not down with that." But April says, "Just humor me, okay?" He says, "Fine, but I won't change my mind." She then tells Mikey, "I've been preparing for a long time, Mikey, getting ready for the one last fight for our freedom I knew was eventually coming, waiting for the right moment when we could strike most effectively. I've been planning and I've been building." As Mikey just looks at a massive turtle tank saying, "Yeah, what is it?" She says, "Just a little something to help us even the odds." And with that, the issue ends. I am absolutely loving this series. I know I keep saying that, but that's because every issue thus far has been great. It's just so interesting to see how each of the turtles died and what's happening in this possible future. Like, this is supposed to be how the Ninja Turtle story ends, which is awesome. And now we're finally getting a lot of answers for things. Last issue, we found out how Raphael died and how Mikey became the last Ronin. And in this issue, we saw how Casey Jones and Leonardo died, but also just how April lost her arm and leg and survived the explosion, as well as seeing how Mikey survived the explosion and got to Japan. We're starting to get a lot of answers and the puzzle is coming together. And I just love how they tied Baxter Stockman to the story being one of the most infamous turtle villains of all time. So that just makes sense. I could go on and on telling you how much I like this issue and the entire series, which I probably will with Tim on Variant the Podcast. So make sure you're subscribed to that on either our YouTube channel or iTunes, Spotify, and Google Play. But what did you guys think of this issue and the entire series thus far? Let us know down in the comments. And that's gonna bring another episode of Variant to a close. But if you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to check out this one right here. And if you like all of our content, be sure to subscribe, like, and comment. It helps the channel grow. But other than that, I'll see you guys next time when I talk about all things comics.